Hello, beautiful soul. So I'm super excited because today we have Ariana with us, and I think you're gonna love her energy. She's like a powerhouse. So I'm like, yes, let's do this. I can already feel that energy, when I was tapping in it. So tell us a little bit about you, Ariana. Like, what made you decide to start this program that you finish? Well, when did you finish? I don't
So
remember.
I was in the Awakening the Healer program. Remember, that was like 3 months, right? Something like that.
Was
And then
it
I signed up for the 12-month.
the high
Your
performance?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm in that now, and I just started that one like 3 months ago. But I met you, I would say it was sometime in end of April, mid-April, May of
Okay.
2020, of last year, 2023, that I met you. And that time when I was seeking, right, therapy, I was already for like 7 months in talk therapy. So like traditional therapy, I was in a very dark place. I was very depressed, and I knew that I needed help. I knew that I had to overcome some traumas. I knew I had to heal my heart because my heart felt so broken,
Mm.
and I just felt lost. I felt confused. I knew that God wanted more of me. I just didn't know how to get there. I felt like there was like a block in my life that I wanted to like break through, and I had no idea how. So I knew I needed therapy. So I was in talk therapy, and I just felt after a while like he was able to take me to a certain level, and that's it. Like there was more, and I knew that I needed someone that was more like spiritually based, that
Okay.
I can speak more of God and God things and angels and these concepts that were like to him was more science, right? They were more like facts, book textbook information, and it just wasn't for me, and I wasn't feeling it no more, but I knew I needed more, right? So I was like googling like holistic therapy or something like that in my area, and I came across your company, and I started seeing like the reviews that people were leaving of you and the videos and how they were talking about the true healing that you have helped them undergo. And I was like, oh, this is like therapy, but like spiritual, and it's like more holistic, where it's not just talk, right? Where I can bring God in it, I can bring other things in it, and it'd be a safe space for me. So I tried it. Like I think I booked you right away. We had a phone call consultation, and I was just like, oh, I knew that it was for me, right? So when I came to you, I was battling like a lot of depression, insecurities, a lot of low self-esteem. So like I didn't feel myself worthy, right?
Mm.
So it was like I knew that God wanted to use me in it for his glory in a lot of different ways to help heal people. But I'm like, I need healing. How can I help other people when I feel like I'm a hot mess, right? When I
Yeah.
haven't been able to get through my own humps. And so when it came to you, I was just in my lowest point, honestly. Feeling a little
It's
better because I had some therapy.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny because to hear someone that has so much power, I have to put this on my haircut. It's driving me crazy.
Oh,
Um, to to
yeah.
to hear you like every time that we have sessions, I'll be like, but she's so full of it. Like she's full of all of that energy, like that alpha, like
Yeah.
go getter energy. Like we're gonna take this
Yeah.
down.
Yeah, it was covered in like dirt, I call it, like in mud. So all of that greatness I knew was there. Like I would see glimpses of it. Like I would look into my eyes and feel intimidated. Wow, you're beautiful, you're powerful. But I had all these things, all these underlining root traumas and things that were said to me as a child, and growing up with certain words that people said to me, it really impacted my behaviors as an adult, right? So I didn't feel the smartest in the room. I dropped out of high school. I always felt like the black sheep in my family. I always felt dumb, right? And I just didn't know how to fully see myself, how to fully know like you can bring me down. So I would have glimpses of you can't bring me down, but then you'll be bring me down for anything. Like you do anything to me and I'm back to square one. And I wanted to just stand firm in who I am, and I knew I needed something. I was
Yeah.
ready. I was ready to put in the work. So I know when I met you and I read the reviews about you, you specifically said, if you're not ready for change, if you're not ready to put in the work, this is not for you. And you were honest. Like you weren't there just to sell people a program. And I was like, I'm ready. Like, let's do this, girl. So in the process, in working with you, it it was more than I could have expected or wanted or anything like that. Like I was open to any modalities, any tactics that you had, you know, whether it was, you know, hypnosis, whether it was regression therapy, you know, anything that you had, you know, taking the rapé, like I was like, girl, whatever you say, because I knew that God put you in my life and that you were gonna help me get to where I needed to get. So I would just came like an open vessel, right? Heal me, girl, help me. And you did, you know, I followed everything that you said. You know, I was, you know, going to my past self, right? My child self, past lifetimes. And I would totally see how those moments in time that impacted me negatively, how the behaviors of my adult self today were impacted by that. And noticing that, getting to the root of that, and forgiving that person, forgiving myself, and releasing all those things. But first, sitting in that. And that was hard. Like, who wants to go back to their most painful moments and relive them? And have to face the person that hurt them in their mind, and have a conversation of love, have a conversation of forgiveness. We do not want to put in that work because it's hard. It's heartbreaking. But I was willing to break my heart even more because I needed to heal. So I knew that I had to keep breaking it for it to come back to where it, you know, where it was like my God heart, I call it, you know. And
So tell us a little more about that. Like when you have to go to those moments at the beginning, was it differently than towards the end when you already had some experience? Like, okay, we're gonna have to do this. Were you resisting at all at the beginning, or did you feel like you weren't?
In the beginning,
ready?
I was scared. I was lost. I was like, oh, girl, really? You want me to do that? Like, how? Like, I didn't know how to. What I loved is that you always kept an open space of love to just tell me, drop down in your heart. You'll always say, drop down in your heart, because I'll be in my head trying to picture these things or get to those places, like remember, because it was really about me remembering and wanting to stay there. But in the beginning, it was hard for me, but you so perfectly and graciously reminded me, just come back to your heart space, drop down to your heart, and you will know, and just sit there. And literally, as I trusted your guidance and going to my heart space and connecting with those parts of me that I knew I was ready in those moments to release, right? Because you have to be ready so that those information can come to you and that you can release them with love. If you're not ready, it just won't happen. But thank the Lord that I wanted that change. You know, to this day, I'm still gonna fight to continue, right? But in those few, like that first session was a little weird for me because I didn't know what to expect, but it got easier because I knew, go to your heart space, just sit there and trust that my guardian angels, that my higher self, that God is going to put the images, the words, everything will fall into place. And they did so perfectly, so beautifully, more than what I could have imagined, because I always say, like, I'm not a creative person. At least back then I would say that. And I'm like, if I'm getting all these images and these ideas and I can go back into time and replay these things, whether they were things I lived in this lifetime or past lifetimes, this is something that's really happening, because I like to think that I don't, at that time, now I know I'm very creative. But at first I was like, this is real, because I'm not creative to come up with these stories in my head. They're real. Like, these are real, coming from my higher self to give me these images so that I can connect the past to the present, and how continuing to not cut that root and not getting to that place, I'm going to continue these behaviors, because it's bigger than just conscious. Is there subconscious? So I have to deal with that subconscious story and forgive and understand where they came from, so that I don't continue the same patterns. So you did that very beautifully for me. So now it's like, I get it now.
The stories that we have in our heads are our own stories, right? Like, we make them up. So therefore it has meaning for us, even though sometimes we're like, where are we going with this? Why are we even talking about this right now? So when you said that you were feeling broken, can you tell us a little bit more about that? Like, what was going on that you were feeling so broken? Because it takes a lot of courage for someone to say, you know what, I need to find a solution to this, right? Like, and to spend money. That's the frequency. There is such a frequency there that says, I'm going to spend money because I'm ready to be done with this. Because if somebody wants it for free, they're not ready to heal this, right?
Yeah, no. So for me, it was my heart was broken. So I was with someone for 3 years on and off. And that was the love. She was the love of my life. Like, and I noticed that when she officially left me, she left me through a text message, didn't even have the decency to leave me calling me or, hey, let's meet in person. And that I went to a depression, right? Because I guess I put my worthiness, my everything, who I am into that relationship, into her, right? Because she was so beautiful, she was amazing. And it was like, oh, she's with me, I must be beautiful and amazing too, right? So when she left me, I just seen myself as less than, low than, like I'm not attractive enough, smart enough. I'm not a good leader, because she wanted to have somebody that's a leader. And I was like, oh, I'm not these things, because I couldn't keep her, nothing I could do. And then I noticed that the reasons why the relationship didn't work were because some of my traumas, some of the issues, some of my, like, being controlling and manipulative, right? And being very codependent, always wanting to be around her. Like, it was too much. And she would say, you're too much, being too emotional, like all these things. I just felt like it was a constant pattern in relationships. You're too much, you know? And then after that relationship, I fell into another relationship that I was not proud of. It's not a proud moment of mine at all. And once I realized what I've done, like, wow, like, look at your depression. You were such in a dark place that all the negativity of me, like the worst of me came out. And yeah,
destroying yourself.
self-destruction. Yeah, self-destruction. So it led to a lot of self-destruction, and also destruction of other people that were impacted by my actions. When I woke up from that, I was like, look what your traumas, you not dealing with yourself, led you to do. You're seeking validation, you seeking love from other people, that now you're just willing to get it from anything and anyone without caring who's impacted by your actions. And that was hard for me to swallow the pill, because I've already done it. It's already done. You can't take it back.
You couldn't take it back.
I couldn't take it back. But I realized, had I done some self-work, then I would have not fallen to those dark places that allowed me to do some dark things that I'm not proud of, but I'm grateful for them now, because it led me to you. It led me to really work on myself. It led me to never again am I letting that happen, because I am now working in my subconscious is so distorted. It's so dark. It's so depressed. And it feels so like selfless. Like my worth wasn't there. I didn't love myself. I didn't understand why I'm seeking all this love from other people. I was like, I just want to love myself. And I want to forgive myself. And I want to forgive everybody that had caused all this pain to manifest these behaviors in my life. Right. So that was kind of like that pivotal moment. And when I met you, I was still dealing with that pain and those sorrows of, I need to heal this, because I can never allow myself to destroy myself, because I know what God has for me. I know the visions and the things that God has told me that I'm going to do in this lifetime, of being of service to others and of healing others and of being an inspiration to others. Like, how can I be an inspiration being a hot mess? Those two worlds don't exist. So I wanted to really, truly heal my hot messness, as I call it, so that I can show people what's possible through the power of God, right? The power of healing, the power of going through our traumas and wanting to take out the root, right? And not just surface work, is inner work. Yeah. But the beautiful blossoming gardens and flowers that can grow out of doing the work is beautiful.
Absolutely. So when you're talking about, it sounds like you were at the darkest, lowest point, right? And you do all of this work. What is on the other side of that for you?
Wow. Once I started like seeing myself and forgiving myself, forgiving other people for the pain that they've caused me and completely letting them go, I started to feel all this immense love in my heart. Like, I felt my heart expanding in ways that I never thought was possible for me. And I just wanted to love on everybody and everything. I started realizing the relationships that I picked, the people in my life, how the toxic ones, I started realizing those people, how they were no longer serving me. So it led to changes. It led to transformations. It led to me letting go of some things and stepping into a new, right? So just 8 months ago, I just met you, right? I gave notice in my 9 to 5, which I've been in that job for 8 years. I honored and loved my job, my boss, and then that company. I was planning on owning that company one day, and I was in the top of the enchilada as a director of that company, right? But after working with you, I realized that me running towards being the savior of that job and wanting to impress and wanting to show, oh, look, I'm awesome. Like I was seeking something there, right? Like it wasn't really about that was for me. It was more that I was looking for validation in the wrong places for the wrong reasons. And you helped me uncover those things through our sessions. And I realized that as much as I'm there, I wasn't there for my higher purpose, wasn't fully there. That my higher purpose is for me to like own my own company, through my own creativity, through God's downloads to me that I'm going to create that's different from what's around right now in the world. So since then, I've left my 9 to 5. My last day was like 2 weeks ago now. And I started 3 businesses. So one of them is very profitable. So one of my companies is called Powerful Empire Solutions, where I do business funding for business owners so that they can get capital for their businesses to scale and grow their businesses. I do that. I have a podcast.
You've been doing that for way longer though,
I
right?
started
It hasn't just
doing
been 2 weeks. So
I started doing that business like in July. So
right.
that was, so I met you like in April, May. So like I started opening my business and working towards it, because again, I started realizing certain things within myself and getting the courage to feel I'm worthy enough to be of that type of service. So it started blossoming from there, and that I was able to now do that full time. I have a podcast called Evolution on the Mic, which is God-led and faith-led. So basically, like my tagline of my podcast is faith in God, faith in yourself, and faith in others. So these are all the things that like I've learned through my journey and everything that I'm in now, that I want to build other people, to have them be inspired, to find themselves, to heal, about their belief systems and how all of that impacts. And I want to like showcase all those things through my podcast. So it's very motivational, inspiring, and, spiritual based. And I'm excited about that. And then I also have a real estate investing company as well. And I have a nonprofit, Mentors Way, that is going to be the biggest thing ever in the planet. So, and that's something that I'm harnessing. And God gave me the vision of Mentors Way when I was just 19 years old, when I dropped out of high school. He told me what my mission is. And you know what I mean? And I feel like I'm now in the brink of it all these years later. And if it wasn't for you coming in and really helping me, like, get all that dirt out, right? Like I felt like my pipeline was clogged, and like it was all the blessings, all the beautiful things, all the beautiful energy was there, but they were like clogged. And you just been helping me like unclog it and be clear and be whole and have this love that I just want to be of service. I just want to add value. I just want to completely reach a level of enlightenment so that I can be a beam of light for so many people around the world. And and that's kind of what led me to you. And I'm grateful that it worked. Right?
Because fingers crossed.
I feel great, but guess what? I know that there's more. Like I'm still working with you. You know what I mean? I'm still in a process, but I'm so far away where I was 7, 8 months ago. I'm such in a better place. And I know that if I continue putting in the work, right? Because after every session, there's work that you have to do to continue to integrate the concepts, to continue to understand and practice the things that we've worked on. So it's not like we're going to have a session and magically I'm good. No, there's still things that I got to be conscious of now. Certain things that I have to shift in my perspective, but it just flows easier once I have that full understanding of how my past is affecting my now.
Right. So I think a lot of people listening are going to be like, what is going on? So let's go back 1 second. The small business funding, what is the name of that company and how can people reach you?
So it's called Powerful Empire Solutions.
Okay.
And they can reach me, like you can email me at info@powerfulempiresolutions.com. Awesome. That's the best way that you can reach me.
Okay. And one thing that people are going to be like, oh my goodness, so she did all this healing and now she's like changing her whole life. Like, what the heck is going on? Is that going to happen to me? I just want to make sure that people that are listening know Ariana had that company for months before she quit her job, and that company is generating a lot of capital. So it's no, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to live off canned soup.
No.
It's a different lifestyle. I mean, completely different than leaving your job and starting something where you don't even know if you're going to make 2 pennies. So I just want to make sure that that's clear, because a lot of people that are in looking for this type of healing, they want to make big changes, and sometimes they make it so fast that they break down the foundation and have to start from 0, 0, 0, -0, and it feels like I just made the biggest mistake in my life, which is not your case. I just wanted to make that clear. So with the podcast, what is the name of the podcast again?
Evolution on the Mic.
Okay, awesome.
So it's on like every platform, on YouTube, on Instagram. Just type in Evolution on the Mic and you'll see it pop up on podcast, Apple. Like we're pretty much everywhere. Maybe not Apple. I gotta ask my business partner if he got that approved yet. But yeah, we're basically on every other platform.
Cool. Sounds good. So when it comes to your previous ideas on what was hypnosis, what was regression work and shamanic work, where were you with those ideas? Like, is this really something that I want to do? Because you were already doing talk therapy for a while, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So for me, I'm a very open-minded person and I don't judge based on what others tell me. I like to try things myself first, get my own opinion on things. However, for a few years, I do have people close to me that has tried hypnosis and have read articles about it, how you get crazy and you might get psychotic and stay stuck in a place. And, for years, someone very close to me was telling me that.
Hypnosis.
Hypnosis. Yeah, specifically hypnosis. So for a few years, I had somebody that was telling me, hypnosis, and just talking to me about different types of therapy. And you got to be careful. You got to find the right person that's going to put you under and put you in hypnosis state, because you can come out of it and go like psycho or something like that. However, even though I knew I had that information or someone made those comments to me, I always told myself that, God loves me too much to let anything like that happen to me. Like he's going to lead me to it. So when he led me to you and, we that was part of your services, I was open at that point, and I knew and I trusted the process. So prior to, it was a bit like, oh, what am I doing? Like, really, you're going to do this? But I was open-minded, and yeah, it was definitely nothing to be afraid of. You have to just trust yourself that you're making the right decisions for you, and that, feeling connected to you and who you are is very important, which is what I liked. When we first had our conversation, our first consultation, you said you also got to choose who your client is going to be. You made that clear. Like it's a two-way street. Like I choose you, but you also choose your client. So I think that is very important if you're getting into something like this, that the energies are in alignment, so that you don't bring any fears to the table. You don't want to have that. If anybody's coming to you, like, let it be with love and an open heart and trust that it's going to work out, because you're nothing but love, and you radiate love, and you radiate, and you hold a safe space for everyone that knows you. I mean, just look at the reviews on your Google. Everybody says the same thing. I was convinced. I'm like, everybody loves her. She's great. And I experienced it myself firsthand. And I can honestly say that you've been a beam of light that has helped change the trajectory of my life.
That's beautiful. So when you say change, I know the businesses are booming and things are happening, and you left your work of 8 years, which is a huge transition right? Like some people will stay in a job like that pays really well, that basically adores you and looks up to you. So besides that, like, what are the main things that you notice now with your energy, like how your energy has shifted after doing the healing that you have been doing?
I mean, it has definitely trickled to my loved ones outside of me, and it has restored relationships. So this energy and this healing has not only impacted me positively, but it has also helped to like restore and align me with people that I thought my relationships were destroyed, or that would never be completely fulfilled. So quick story, when I was like about 9 years old, my dad looked at me. I was like laying with him in bed. We were like, I was spending quality time with him, which was rare. My dad is not a quality time person, but for whatever reason, that moment happened. And I remember he looked at me with one tear in his eye, and he's like, I'm going to tell you this one time, and I don't believe that we have to tell, someone this more than once, but I'm going to tell you this one time, and I'm never going to tell you again. He said, I love you. And he teared, and he hugged me, and I never heard it again. And my mom left my dad when I was like less than 1 year old, so I will only see him for like holidays, like Christmas, like the week Christmas break, spring break, things like that. And never. And growing up, I felt a void. Right, I love my dad, like no matter what, and I was always chasing my dad's attention, and he was either working or just not emotionally available. And I remember how that's impacted me. And we had a session about that, and spoke about that and certain things with my dad and the energies that needed healing for both of us. So when we did that work, and I felt forgiveness for my dad, I felt him forgiving anything that has happened to him that has caused him to be emotionless or not wanting to express emotions. When I felt something like break in that session. And 2 weeks later, I get an inclination to like speak to my dad. So New Year's Day, like literally 24 days ago today, I called him. I'm like, well, let me call my dad. I never really call my dad, but someone told me to call him, and he picked up. And in that conversation, he tells me, te amo, te amo. Like he told me he loved me 3 times. And I didn't know where to like put myself. I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience. Like, am I dreaming? Am I real? Is this happening? I'm like, we just had this session with Victoria a few weeks ago. And something tells me just call him for New Year's Day. And I hear those words for the first time. And I'm 37 years old now. Waiting 28 years for something that you feel like should have just came naturally from your parent. You know what I mean? For my dad specifically, I that completely transformed me, and I've seen the power of healing your energy because you open up the space to heal the energies of others around you. It's a trickle effect, I feel like I broke generational curses in a way, like seriously.
Well, how you got there though, for those that don't know, obviously nobody knows besides you. So you went into a past life. I don't remember how we got to the past life or like what started with the past life, but in the past life, something happened with another person, and that person was the energy of your father here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And anything else there that you can share with those that are listening, because they're going to be lost.
Yeah, no, I know this is like hard to put. You have to like be in it and like believe in this to really make it make sense. But in a nutshell, I had like when I went back to a past life, I was in a motorcycle accident. So a motorist crashed me, and basically I died on impact. So the energy that man carried of regret, of pain, of not feeling like he just had a lot of negative energy towards him, and
Guilt.
like
guilt as well.
Of guilt. And I remember when we went through that session, it was about me forgiving that spirit, like that soul, right? So that soul can find forgiveness and love for themselves because they lost all the love for themselves because of that thing that they did that was so tragic, that they killed a human being, right? And I think they were drunken driving, they were drunk or something like that in that lifetime, and they crashed me, and they just they died with that energy, right? And I released them from that pain, from that anguish, from that guilt, right? And we would send love to the energy and send him to the light. And when I realized that energy was the energy of my father now, like that same soul that experienced that is my father, I then showed love to my father and had like this, spiritual conversation of love and forgiveness. And a few weeks later, like I feel like I broke something within this soul of my dad that's here now. And I know you guys are looking at this like, yeah, crazy, like what you're talking about, but this is real. We can't make this up. I can't make this up. I've been waiting for my dad to tell me he loves me since I was 9 years old. And it happened. How? Like this, there's something real, genuinely real to this. And just be open-minded. Like it's changed, it's literally changed me in a positive way, and I'm forever grateful.
So let's share one more story, like one of your favorite sessions for whatever reason.
Oh wow. My favorite session was the one that we had like the one before last, when I was you had me like lay down and I was under the light, and I
You
was
were doing
dealing with
breath work, yeah, with
not
brain
yeah, we're
training.
doing the breath work. And that session, you know, I was a person that I relied heavily on other people that are close to me to give me guidance, to give me answers, right? Like I relied heavily on that, and I just felt God telling me, like, I need you to rely on me and my voice. I need you to rely on yourself and the voice within. Go within, because the answers are there. And I battled with that for a long time. I battled with that, and literally in that session I just felt like this energy, which, you know, is Jesus. I felt him come to me and like hug me and like carry me and said, I am your guidance. I am your voice. I am your answer. Everything come to me. Right. And I just felt like Jesus, God, energy, like my higher, like
Higher
all of that,
consciousness. Yeah.
my higher consciousness. I just felt all of that love come, and like I saw it in my mind's eye. You know what I mean? And it just embraced me and like carried me. And it was a love, a feeling that I never thought I can feel, because I've always felt the love of God and the love of Jesus for years. Like, you know what I mean? I've had that. I was building my relationship, and that just kind of stamped everything for me, where now he's my go-to first. I can go to somebody and be like, hey, what do you think? But you're not my final answer. My final answer is what I feel in here that God is telling me, because he told me those people that you go to for answers, is me that speaks to them. So you have a third party, or you have direct communication. And I'm like, you're right. But it was all about that trust, right? And building that firm, solid. So for me, that was the most impactful, my favorite session, because it wasn't long at all. But it shifted a lot for me too. So this is like an onion, right? Like you say, that we got to peel, and there's different levels and there's different things. So there's different areas of healing for me.
Yeah.
That one showed me that I have the answers, that God has the answers, and he's my source, and he's my direct line of inner knowing. And that was beautiful to feel that love
That's
in that
beautiful.
way.
Yeah, I think at the beginning with any client, the first few sessions can be very long because there's still so many layers and
Yeah.
layers, right? And then as you advance, the work becomes even more transformational, and it's almost like it's already taking so much energy at the bottom. So it's speeding up to the point that it's like a full psychedelic experience without any outside influence besides you. So that's beautiful.
Yeah.
One of my favorite sessions with you was I think I fell in love with this spirit that you had attached to you. It was
Oh
a
my God,
male,
yes, the love of my life.
the love of your life in a past life. And I was looking at him and you were talking, and like, wow, he looks so handsome. Like, like he was like he looked beautiful. And I'm like, I think I'm falling in love with a spirit.
Yeah. Oh my God, yes, that was beautiful energy. I love that. I love that too. You know
And
what
it
I
was a
mean?
spirit attached, but it was there to protect. It wasn't
Yeah.
there to cause harm. And we
Yeah.
release him with a lot of love and compassion. And I mean, I cannot stop thinking about the guy. He
Ah,
was so handsome.
yeah. No,
And
that it's been great. Yeah.
yeah. Anything else you want to share with those listening? I think we're getting ready to wrap it up.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just want to say, like, it doesn't really matter like what you believe in. If some of the things we said sounds like foo-foo to you and you're like, oh, I don't really know about all of that. I just want you to know that it's all God energy. At the end of the day, like all these things, all these concepts, God gave Victoria this gift. It was God, and God is love. So there's no harm here. There's no like, oh, that's not something that I want to do. Let me just, I don't know what they're talking about. Because look at the actual changes that are happening in my life had I had that mindset. My mindset is always be open-minded, and it's God energy, and that God energy is love energy, and all of this that Victoria does at the core, it's all 100% coming from a place of love, and it's God energy, higher consciousness, and it's all to lead you to your purpose. It's all to lead you to true healing. And I'm sure we can all agree that that's what we're looking for in this lifetime, is
Yeah,
healing, true healing, and
that's right.
seeking our purpose in this lifetime. And you
Yeah.
can definitely get that if you're ready for the changes. So that's
Okay.
the only thing I want
Thank
to add.
you. It's funny that you say that because I have had a few people say after I booked my session and I seen some of your videos, I got afraid that you
Yeah.
were gonna do black magic on me. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
God. So, there are a lot of fears when it
Yeah.
comes to energy work. And I think
Yeah.
people have a misconception that everybody that practice, especially if we are African or Caribbean, right?
Yeah.
Like Caribbean heritage, that there's going to be black magic involved in the process. So thank you for saying that.
100%. That was in my heart to say, because I know people that know me are probably, because I don't tell a lot of people my business. So I'm sure people are gonna be like watching this, like, oh, that's what she was doing. And it's like, it's God, it's love.
Well,
And
tell us about rapé. How was your experience with rapé?
oh my God, I was so scared at first, y'all. Let me tell you. I was like, but Victoria knew that I was in a place of anxiety. I was in a place of quieting my mind, of dropping to my heart. And she knew that that was going to help me like completely like center myself. So at first I was scared. And after that, I was like, I love this. I mean, especially in the beginning when I was still coming in like uncertain and kind of like, oh, scared of what's going to happen or not fully knowing the direction we were going to go. That just completely helped me to center myself. So my experience with it has been, amazing. It's just literally like, you just feel at peace, you just feel calm, you just feel centered. It's like you go into like an immediate meditation. That's the way I always seen it.
Yeah, and it's different for some people. Like
Yeah.
some people will lose it with it, and some people get very grounded with it. And
Yeah.
I think it
Yeah.
depends on what's going on with us and our intention. And I don't offer rapé to a lot of people when they come in person, only to a few. So it's
Yeah.
interesting. I don't remember but I do remember you doing rapé.
It was
So
like
a
my
couple of
first,
those
my second
sessions.
session. It was like in like my first couple afterwards. I guess you didn't feel like I needed it because I already like knew where we needed to go. I was self-directing, but in the beginning, that was like I felt like it was your way of allowing me to just center myself so that the things I need to come to me came to me without me being running in my mind. So that definitely helped to kind of level me, to center me. So
Thank
it
you
was
so
good.
much for sharing your story. I loved our time together.
No.
Thank you. We'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks.
Thank you.